Yeah.
Somebody just chimed in. Was that Gary or Brooks or?
Gary.
Okay. I think we're all here now.
Very good. So we'll open the meeting. Has everybody electronically signed the warrant?
I probably didn't, but that's okay.
Yeah. I know I did. Amy, do you have what you need?
Yeah, Gary, did you email me it's okay to pay that?
I did not, but I was going to.
Okay, if you could just send me an email saying it's okay to pay, then I have a quorum to do that, and we'll send those checks out.
I will do that.
Thank you.
We're waiting on minutes. Any adjustments to the agenda?
We need to make the motion to acknowledge the meeting of April 14th, 2020, probably before we do that.
Okay. You want to make that motion to acknowledge that this meeting is being held electronically?
Yep. Make the motion to acknowledge that the meeting on April 14th, 2020 is being held electronically.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we need a roll call vote, and I'll start. Say in favor. Tink.
Tink is in favor.
Gary.
Gary's in favor.
Unanimous. So moved. Back to any adjustments?
No, the only adjustment that I added to my discussion and analysis is to kind of give me some guidance on the 2021 budget so we can start moving forward with that.
Yes. Yeah, and that I think that's the last piece, right? Well, I guess I could put 2021 budget. We'll just put that after, because I did see that on your write-up. So we'll put that right after the staffing and hours. Any public comment? All right, so if everybody's ready, we'll move right to update on the COVID pandemic. David or Amy?
Yep, this is Dave. I can give you a rundown of a consolidated version of both the CDC call Monday and emergency management meeting last Thursday.
Yeah, Dave, if you would just focus on town stuff. What are they saying about towns and what we should do?
The town stuff is hold steady, keep aware of your occupants, and if they need any food or sheltering or whatnot, to relay any items to the county, and they'll try and help us keep ahead of things.
Dave, this is Tink. We probably wouldn't get anything, but if we should get something large enough, I just a set of forks to go on my tractor if you had a whole pallet or something that would come in. I doubt that we'll get that, but I just let you know so you find somebody to help you unload it.
Yeah. I did finally receive a notice from the state that we weren't getting anything. In regard to that, I have put in another order for materials. If we wanted to get fitted face masks, we would have to get a respiratory protection plan program going, and I could do that through Oxford County. Fit testing is the issue. Apparently, we're to contact area fire departments that do their own fit testing, but they can't do any fit testing if you don't have any of the chemicals has been success for that.
With David, take again. We've been doing ours through NOMAR, which is our Northern Oxford County group. That they bought the machine to do the testing with as a group, and we use it individually. But a couple of people that we do that, so.
Okay. Okay. So, our best bet on getting any PPEs to try and shop and find them for ourselves. Their suggestion.
All right. Thank you, David. Anything else from anybody on updates on the pandemic?
So the only thing that came out of today's press conference was the governor extended the civil emergency to May 15th.
Perfect. So does that mean the stay at home till May 15th?
It does not mean the stay at home until May 15th. It means that she has the authority to extend that if it's needed once we get closer to April 30th.
Okay.
And with the state, and it also helps us get any reimbursements, I believe, through the FEMA actions.
Right. Right. Anything else on COVID? So let's move on to the town office staffing and hours. And Amy, you put together a plan. You gave us a write-up about what it is.
I did.
Any comments on that, or anybody got any questions for Amy on the hours? Let's talk hours first, and then we will talk pay. I know we're only a couple days in, but the hours seem to be working.
Yeah, so we are getting calls after 9, and I stayed here through it. Right now I'm still here at the office. We haven't received any calls after 2 today, so just thinking that those are our prime busy hours for the phone, and that was the major reason we were keeping somebody in the building. Triggered that 9 to 3, and hopefully as things open back up, we'll just extend those hours and get us back to 10 hours, and then we'll have to find a way to transition to having everybody back in the office at some point, hopefully soon.
Anybody got any questions for Amy on hours? We'll move to the pay piece, and Amy is recommending that the board pay out accumulated sick time with hours they work until June 30th. So basically the end of this fiscal year. This is so they obviously an hourly employee is going to get their hourly rate when they're working, and then this would allow them to put it in for however many more they want to get them to 40 hours that they would like. And we've already committed to paying insurance through June 30. So Amy is not recommending that we ask them to file for unemployment. It would be partial unemployment. I mean, 2 options, right? Use up all your sick time or partial unemployment to make up the hours. Do I have that correct, Amy?
That would be correct, yep.
So, and my only question is, I want to make sure we're not taking away their opportunity or anybody's opportunity to get that $600. Apparently that $600 is only good till July 1st, right? Or the end of July, maybe. But that $600 doesn't go forever. That ends. I think it is the beginning of the end of July. So I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that away if that's a possibility for people.
Well, we've already pretty much budgeted for them for the year.
it'll be them using up all their sick time.
Yeah.
And we're allowing them to go negative, so coming back with owed sick time. So I guess the decision we have to make is, do we want to go with Amy's recommendation? And Amy, thank you for making it. The only downside that I could see to that is I just want to make sure we're not taking away any opportunities for the $600. So how about we go with Amy's recommendation, and if somebody finds something different that they're actually it's costing them money by doing that, we reassess.
This is Barb, can you explain the accruing the sick time to 5 hours a month? So May and June, you're only talking 10 hours.
So my recommendation, Barb, is that we pay you your 40 hours a week and acknowledge that you're going to go into negative numbers on your sick time, and we will deal with that after the pandemic is over. Whether that is saying half a day a month isn't enough, or we're writing that off, or we're writing off half of it, or we're just, you don't get sick time until you pay it off. Whatever that ends up being, we're going to make that decision after this is over. But knowing that everybody will be paid sick time for the hours that they are not working at the town office or for the town during this emergency.
Oh, okay.
Amy, I didn't realize we were not going to make that decision until this is over.
You can make the decision whenever you want. That's just my suggestion. I think that's one very, I mean, if it goes beyond June 30th, then we're going to have to make decisions. Because that's not money that has been budgeted or approved, so,
Right.
you know,
when I read your recommendation, I thought it was written as we allow them to go negative on sick time, and then they will have to earn that sick time back.
I mean, it may get to the point where they're going to have to work 6 years to pay it off.
Would that happen between now and June 30th?
It very well likely could, because we only get a half a month, so that's we only get 6 days a year.
Well, but we could also go negative on vacation time too, correct?
That is your decision. That's not my recommendation. No.
So your recommendation is just pay people.
My recommendation is to pay people and have them go on negative into their sick time, and acknowledging that if somebody leaves, then we're gonna end up owning that. They're not gonna.
Understood.
Yeah,
understood. What if someone's? So let's assume everybody stays.
Mm-hmm.
What we're hoping happens.
Right.
So the town fires back up May 15th. So we're talking about 4 weeks, right? I mean, that best case scenario, we're probably full time May 15th. I think we got, I think that, staff has got a decision to make of, I want to use my sick time, or you know what, I'm going to get 15 hours anyways, so I'll use 5 hours of sick time, and I'll live off a $20, I'll live off of a $20 paycheck until this thing gets back. Unless the recommendation is just to pay them. Don't use sick time just to pay them, but that's not how I read it, so I'm sorry for my confusion.
My recommendation is to pay the employees 40 hours a week and supplement the hours they are working with accrued time they currently have, and if they go into the red, we have to acknowledge they're going into the red. If in a month from now we still don't know when the end of this is going to come, I think a different decision may need to be made at that point. But my recommendation is to pay our staff 40 hours a week until the end of the stay-at-home order, or whatever is sooner, June 30th. But we may need to make a different decision further down the road. But I think that if we can get through a couple of weeks of having people work, 15 to 20 hours a week, and then we give them whatever sick time they have, whether or not they're going to work, and then we're not even factoring in what the federal government may or may not give us. That can be, we can make them whole through this process.
I think we've committed to paying the 2 weeks, assuming the federal government is going to pay us, and are aware of the fact that if that doesn't come through, we're going to eat that 2 weeks.
Okay.
Gary and Tinky, you guys on that same page?
This is Tank. Yes, I am.
Okay. And Gary, you same place there, that the 2 weeks we're assuming. So when we were doing math on what they have for sick time, vacation time, and the 2 weeks, we were factoring that in. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think we're trying to make too much out of this, because I just wanted to pay them, and let's if we need to get them in there to do more hours in the office, then so be it.
So are they going to use their vacation as sick time or no?
I would not want them to do that, no, but
Nick, what's your thought?
Well, yeah, I see somebody lose their vacation time and their sick time. But maybe they could work a little bit more than 18 hours a week if there's something going on. Something can be done.
So we've been dancing around this for a while, you guys. We just need to make a decision. Amy's recommendation is we pay them for 40 hours, but they're going negative on sick time and vacation time. They use that all up. Gary, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying, no, you don't want that. We're just going to pay them. So we owe it to the staff to be clear with what we're doing. Don't want to continue to dance around this. So I guess I'd look for, if we want to take Amy's recommendation, then we need to make sure we know what we're talking about. And don't want to put off the decision on what we're doing with sick time till after we see how much they use. I think we owe it to them to let them know that now. Or if we want to go with we're just paying them, I don't believe there is 40 hours worth of, 120 hours worth of work a week for the staff. Is that correct, Amy?
That's correct.
So, we're paying people for sitting at home, which if that's what the recommendation is, we can vote on that.
so this is Gary. Now, does that include all of the office staff, or just 2 or 3 of them?
Well, there's only 3, because Amy's salaried, so Amy is not part of the conversation because she's salaried. So my 120 hours is, it's Barb, Dave, and Lori, 40 hours a week, times 3. Go ahead.
When they do their calls to the residents at home, are those toll calls that they have to pay for out of their own pocket, or is there, because some of them, they live in Rumpin number, so are they getting
No, I
charged
don't-
to?
I don't
There's
think it'd be
no
a
such thing as
cost.
toll calls.
I don't think it'd be a cost to either of us. Barb. Amy, I was under the understanding that you could get a small business loan that the government might turn into a grant for 8 weeks to cover wages and utilities. Is that incorrect?
That's not for government.
That's small business.
Yeah, that's for government jobs. And those are for private sector jobs. It's not for public sector jobs.
Okay, that's fine.
We have the money to do it. I mean, it's not a question of the money. It's, you know, we're spending tax dollars, and you know, I'm happy to go whichever way people want to go. We need a proposal. We have Amy's, but you know, let me clarify Amy's. And that if we do Amy's, people are using their sick time and their vacation time, and they're going to have to pay that back at the end. Or Amy, if you want to amend that or change that.
So my recommendation is, I recommend the board pay out cumulative sick time with the hours they work until June 30th, or when this is over, whichever comes first. This means for a few staff members, they will be in negative hours for sick time. That's my recommendation. My recommendation is not to ask them to use their vacation time. My recommendation is for us to have them use their sick time.
Understood. Okay. Gary, take any thoughts?
So far, we've paid them 40 hours a week for how long?
2 weeks. So last week we paid them 40 hours and nobody worked. So that would be the only week that we paid them, and nobody worked other than myself and Dave. And then this week I'm working from home. Dave has been working a lot more than his 6 hours. Tomorrow is his day to do the office for 6 hours, but he's been doing E911, emergency management, and code enforcement LPI work for the last 2 days. So he's going to have more than his shift. So
That's the good news.
that's the good news. If we can come up with stuff that the office staff that I'm just overlooking that can be done from their home, then we can certainly do that. I just want to avoid having more than one staff member in the office at a time. If it was Lori and Dave, or Barbara and Dave in the office, or myself and Lori or Barbara in the office for a short period of time, that's not a super inconvenience. I just really would rather see that that there's only one person in the office at a time, so that we're minimizing our exposure to each other. Dave has been a super trooper, and he's masking himself inside and out, so he's doing above and beyond. But I got my mask today, so maybe I'll give it a shot. But it's tough to wear that mask. I really feel for the poor medical care workers, because learning to breathe with a mask on your face is something to get used to.
Well, David, thank you for doing that.
Well,
Let's stay on topic, you guys. We've got Amy's proposal on the table, and Amy, if I've got it correct, they're going to use sick time, which isn't much. It's a couple of hours. So we've already paid people the 2 weeks that we are planning to pay, irregardless of whether we get reimbursed from the government. Is that correct?
No. No, we have 1 week that we paid them because we shut the place down. That was last week.
Okay.
This week would be whatever hours they're not working, would accumulate up to however many hours that's going to be, whether it's 24 or 34 or whatever it is for each one of them. And then moving forward. So do I pay everybody 40 hours a week on Monday, or do you want me to do something different?
That's what I'm asking.
I guess I would be in able of paying everybody their 40 hours. I mean, because they are more or less on call. If something should come up and they needed to come in, they'd have to come in. Correct?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption.
And I think that is what Bethel's doing. They're still paying their employees.
Yeah, they're paying everybody, and they're not making them take their sick or vacation time. I've talked to 5 different managers in different areas of the state, including our area, and that's what they're doing right now. Because it's a civil emergency. It's nobody's fault.
Right, and that's where I'm coming from. That's why I feel we should still pay people, because they have no control over it. So that's why I feel they should get paid.
So do you want to make that a motion, Gary? We should do this, or we should vote on this, correct, Amy?
Yes, please.
We should. Yeah. So,
All right.
you want to make that a motion, Gary?
I'll make a motion that we continue to pay everybody the 40 hours, because this is not something this is a federal civil emergency, and nobody has any control over what's happened, and they are still on a call, I guess, that if they were needed to come in for something that they would have to do. And it sounds like other area towns are doing the same thing, so I think we should do the same thing. So I guess I just make a motion to continue to pay our staff 40 hours a week.
Until when, Gary?
Probably at least until the end of April, and maybe till May 15th, if that's when Governor Mills continues this out too.
I'll second that, Gary, with to the May 15th.
Okay, so we'll need a roll call vote. I will vote in support of that. Okay?
I'm in favor, yes.
Gary?
I'm in favor. Yes.
Unanimous. So thank you for that. So we are on to 2021 budget. I've talked to Amy about this a little bit. I think that realistically, I don't think we can expect to have a very heavy budget or have a very aggressive budget. The challenge for me is I think we need to write it like nothing's happening and then cut from there. But would like to hear from Gary and Pink what you think, so we can give Amy some direction as to what do we want her to write for a budget. Because she just got that. Go ahead.
I believe, and we kind of talked about that in the meeting before, that we draw up our budget and then see where we were at. There was some places that probably cuts could be made, but I would say draw up the budget and then we'll look at it.
And draw it like nothing's happened.
Yeah. That's the way I would be in favor of.
Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, I would be in favor of that. I mean, we pretty much know that. I mean, she just send out those things that she's been sending, and we go over them, and maybe we can look at them ourselves. And next time we have a meeting or a couple of weeks, we can sit down through it and say, yep, we should cut this or cut that or keep it in. Or
Right. Okay. So we're adding some work here, Amy, but it sounds like, and I agree with those guys, I think we got to write it like this isn't happening, go through it all, get our total, and then go, okay, this is a 3% increase or a 2% decrease or whatever, and we really want to get, 5% out of this, 10% out of it, but it's hard to do until we have a total. We have the county said, it doesn't sound like we're going to have a school number until July, right? Is that what the vote is now?
So, yeah. Okay, so I've got direction. That's fine. I'll start working on that and try to get it out to you probably next week. So...
Gary, go ahead, Amy.
So the state primary election has been moved to July 14th. And I sent an email out to the Bethel town manager, Woodstock and Greenwood, and asked them if they have decided to move their municipal election to that date as well. The consensus is they think they're all doing that, and MMA has encouraged every town that has a May or June annual town meeting date to postpone that to July or August.
Hey, we got a recommendation from MMA. I'm happy.
So I think we kind of all chatted over email today and discussed waiting for the school, because there's no point in it. Yeah, I mean, we can move our election to July 14th as well, but we really want the school to be on board with that, and I think they will be, but maybe in 2 weeks we postpone our municipal election to July 14th, once we know that the school is going to be the same.
Do that, post that, all that sort of stuff, right?
So, and I don't think that I'll have to repost the ballot because we do not have the authority currently to reopen nomination papers. So the nomination papers would just be a rescheduling of the election due to an emergency. But the nomination papers are all going to remain the same. We don't have to go through that again for the school or the municipal.
So my only question, so you know how we have to post elections so many days in advance?
Right.
Is there a number of days in advance that we have to?
60 days in advance, so we would have to make the decision by May 14th.
Okay, so we got some time.
Yeah. Yeah, we have plenty of time to do it. I would just like to coordinate that we're all doing it at the same time because I don't want to have multiple elections. I'd like to avoid that if we can.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so we were done with the budget discussion. You know what to do there, Amy. Have we moved into the administrative report?
I have 2 additional things that I emailed you and put in your packets for Gary and Pink. We already discussed the civil emergency extension. Next week is, and I didn't realize this, but it's Patriots Day, and we have that day off. So next Monday, the town office is closed.
that's all right. That really shouldn't make a difference because we're going to pay you the 40 hours anyway.
Right, yeah.
So I'm a little lost in the agenda. Sorry. We're done with the new business. We're done with the budget. I feel like we've moved on to the administrative report, unless there's something I'm missing, Amy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I added that to my administrator's report because I just realized today that Patriots Day is Monday, so I wanted to let you know that not everybody remembers that Patriots Day is Monday, but we do have, it is a part of our holiday schedule, and the town office is closed on April 20th.
anything else on the? So we've talked about the town meeting. We're going to wait to decide. We're going to move the election and the town meeting, and we've got some time so we decide when we're going to do that.
Right.
Recommendation is July or August, November, May. That also talks about the election. Anything else on the administrator's report you want to point out?
Other than, do we want to have Clyde come in and clean the office more than once a week? He offered it. He's slow. He's more than willing to do it. I did ask that he clean all the workstations in the main part of the office and in Dave's office, just on the off chance anybody uses his telephone. But I did ask him to clean the telephones, the keyboards, the workstations, as a part of his duties.
Are you recommending more than 1 day a week?
I don't. It really doesn't make sense at this point, just because, it doesn't make a lot of sense because somebody's going to be here. You know what I mean? Like, when he comes in over the weekend, he comes and he cleans while we're not here, and then we come to a clean office. Well, I mean, he'd have to come on probably a Tuesday night, and I'm here until 6 o'clock usually on Tuesday nights because we have a selectmen's meeting.
So, Gary, I think you feel differently. Andy's recommending we don't go to multiple days. We stick with one. You guys feel differently?
I don't see where we need to. I mean, the office help has been doing a pretty good job of keeping things handy, clean, and there's no public going in and out, so the floors aren't getting very dirty.
Right. Right. Gary, anything?
This is
Gary,
Gary.
with
I don't feel there was a need for him to come in another day. And as far as keeping the phones, keyboards, and mouses, I know at my place of work, we clean our own every day, every morning, just to save ourselves.
Right. All right, Amy, anything else on your report? I did drive by. I think the front of the building looks awesome.
It looks really good. Yep.
On to the CEO's report. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Must be just about done with the municipal building. I think they were working on it. They were working on it today, but it looked like they were just finishing up some stuff.
Yeah, there's some particle board they left exposed. We asked him to paint that white so it would blend better, and he's got to put the mail slot in. He's trying to find us a mail slot that would be big enough, and he's going to order that and get that in. That's it. That's all he needs to do. It's done.
Very nice. Good to have that one in the rear view. David, CEO report?
Yes, I've had 2 building permits issued since our last meeting, both for single-family dwellings. One is located off the private section of Monkey Brook Road, and one is off the upper road at the Glade subdivision, and also plumbing and septic permits for those. We mentioned building items with Bayberry near done. We can begin talking, pulling the road postings. I've heard that I've always sort of measured things a little bit by the, surrounding lakes ice leaves, and then also when the buds begin to swell. So I've heard reports that Twitchell and South Pond have lost their ice now. I'm comfortable if people wanted to pull them this week, and I'm good with waiting until next week's meeting to decide if we wanted to pull them next week. I'm leaning towards next week.
Think, Gary, you have any I mean, I'd go with whatever you recommend, David. Tink and Gary, you guys feel any differently?
No, I think that would be all right.
I would be in favor of that.
I think the frost is pretty well out. The big bump up above the town office, that's pretty well smoothed out now, hasn't it, Gary?
Yep, that's not bad now.
Does anybody know if Dave, do we have any issues with the rain and everything that went on this weekend?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, just curious.
I think our biggest thing was probably down limbs, down Woody Matter.
Yeah. No, I see the river was pretty, but I didn't know for sure.
A lot of stuff is falling out by its roots.
I haven't heard of any blowouts anywhere. I haven't gone and ridden each road, so.
Anything else, David?
Not that, none other than having the fire department to continue pursuing their own PPEs, and I've been still on board with the Oxford County and the Maine CDC conference call.
No,
Very good.
Go ahead.
Reports? Any committee reports? Anything from the selectmen?
Yeah, the only thing I've got is I got a call from Medicare the other day for a vote where they're applying for, because they're not municipal, they're applying for that $10,000 grant, not grant, but the forgiven one for people. Anyway, I said, yeah, let's go for it. They was looking to
Small
start
business loan.
Yeah, this small business loan, and they've also I thought it was kind of good. Farmington Ford has loaned them two SUV vehicles so that they can use them so that they don't always have to be riding in the ambulance together, or if they get a call that's kind of, if you don't know what it is, they can send somebody out to check it out rather than exposing two people.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, they loaned it to them for nothing. Just when the pandemic is over, they got to turn them back.
Yeah. Very cool.
Other than that, I didn't have anything else.
Any other business?
I don't have anything.
We'll plan on next Tuesday, same time.
Yeah, that's on the agenda for right now. I'm gonna work on the budget, see what I can get done.
Good.
Okay.
Look for a motion to adjourn.
This is
Make a
Tink.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right. I'm in favor. Tink. Tink, you in favor?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Gary, you in favor?
In favor.
So it's unanimous. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yep.